Hi guys, why don't we talk about the properties of multiplication now? Before we did a video on properties of addition. Addition has properties, and just like that, multiplication has properties too. So today we're going to be watching the properties of multiplication, and properties, the word properties means a describing word. A describing word is a property. Multiplication has 5 properties. The zero property, the identity property, the commutative property, the associative property, and the distributive property. Let's start with the zero property. Since this is called the zero property, we have to have a zero somewhere in here, right? I'll put it here. And we also need another number here. I'll take the number 4. And I put the multiplication sign in the middle because it's a property of multiplication, not addition or something else. And 0 times 4 is 0. And it's called the zero property because it's got 2 zeros in here. But did you know that you can replace the 4 with any number? Literally any number. If you put the number 5 in here, 0 times 5 is 0. It's true. If you put the number 4 in here, 0 times 4 is 0. It's true. If you put the number 3 in here, 0 times 3 is 0. It's true. Put the number 1 in here, 0 times 1 is 0. It's true. And well, of course, if you put the number 0 in here, 0 times 0 is 0, that is also true. That's what the zero property is all about. Next, it's the identity property. In the identity property, we have 2 numbers, and they're identical. We know they're identical because of this equal sign that tells us that they're equal or identical. But of course, we need a multiplication sign somewhere in here. So, why not here? 5 times something is equal to 5. 5 times what is equal to 5? 0 won't work because 5 times 0, as we found out in the zero property, is equal to 0. So, what will work? If 0 doesn't work, what do you think will work? Well, the number 1 will work. It's true. 5 times 1 is equal to 5. If you multiply a number by 1, then you get the same number. That's what the identity property is all about. Next, let's do the commutative property. For the commutative property, you need 2 numbers, 5 and 7. I mean, you could take any numbers you want, but I'm taking 5 and 7. And of course, we gotta multiply them. 5 times 7 is 35. And commutative basically means swap. And we can swap the numbers 5 and 7. 2 becomes 7 times 5. And 7 times 5 is also equal to 35. If you don't believe me, go get a calculator right now. Type the numbers 5 and 7, you get 35. Type the numbers 7 and 5, you get 35. So that basically means 5 times 7 is equal to 7 times 5. It may seem like the addition properties, but in this case we're using multiplication sign. For the associative property, you take 3 numbers. I've taken the numbers 5, 4, and 2, and obviously we're going to multiply them now. And I can put a parenthesis in here wherever I want. I can put it in here wherever I want. I can put it here, or I can put it right over here. Why? Because this 5 times 4 times 2 is equal to this. 5 times 2. You put the parentheses over here instead. They're the same thing. That's what the associative property is all about. You can put the multiplication, the parentheses anywhere you want, and you'll still get the correct answer. In other words, you can do anything you want first. For example, if I wanted to solve 5 times 4 times 2, I can do 4 times 2 is 8, and 5 times 8 is equal to 40. And we can also solve it in a different way. 5 times 4 times 2. We can do 5 times 4 first, and we get 20, and 20 times 2 is equal to 40. And 40 is a 40. We still get the right answer. Next up, the distributive property. I have the equation 8 plus 2 in parentheses times 3. Now, if we wanted to simplify this, then we could do 8 plus 2 is 10, and 10 times 3 is 30, and blah blah blah. But the distributive property is more of a method than a property. So you see, this 3 is common to both the 8 and the 2. By multiplying, we can start by multiplying the 3 and the 8. So we have 8 times 3. Put that in parentheses. Then we can multiply the 3 and the 2. Put that in parentheses again. And 2 times 3. And close the parentheses. And of course, this plus sign goes here. So 8 times 3 is equal to 24. And 2 times 3 is equal to 6. And 24 plus 6 is equal to 30, which is what we got in the beginning. So it's called the distributive property because you can distribute the 3 to both the 8 and the 2. Since this distributive property takes a little bit of time to understand, let's do another one. This is still distributive property. Alright, so 8 times 5 is equal to 40. And 8 times 6 is equal to 48. And of course we have the plus sign, and 40 plus 48 is equal to, of course, 88. All this is equal to 88. You're distributing the 8 to the 6 and the 5. Now, why don't we have a little quiz break? Da-da-da. Take this equation. 5 times 3 times 3 equals 5 times 3 times 3. What type of equation is it? And remember, when I say what type is it, then I mean what property does it follow? Which one of these properties does it follow? Write it in the comments, please and thank you.